Hi, my name's David Hines. I'm the founder of Axiom Music. Today I'd like to talk to you about our Prelude range of beginner violins. We're very proud of the Prelude range. We've sold just over 10,000 of them in Australia. And these are a violin that are aimed very much at the first-time player, the child or the student or adult beginner who is starting out with their first violin on their violin journey. Now, if you look on Amazon or eBay or any of the websites, you'll probably see a whole range of cheap violins in the Australian market. Sometimes these are as cheap as $50, $60, $80, $90. Now, the difference between these violins and our violins is that we're a musical instrument specialist company. Most of those other violins are imported by companies that really don't know the difference between a violin and a cello. They're just companies that import all sorts of products, BMX bikes, barbecues, power tools, and they have a range of musical instruments. Now, this is important because for a budget violin to be a good quality violin, it needs to have a certain range of features that make it usable, that make it play well, and that make it sound good. The difference between Axiom and the other budget brands is that I'm a violinist. I know what a violin needs, and I know what makes a good violin. So I've designed the Axiom Prelude Series violins to have all these features, to have things that will make it a good quality first-time instrument. Let's have a look at a couple of those features now. Firstly, the timbres of the violin. Now, as you'll note, this is a high gloss violin. We use good quality spruce maple tone woods to produce the violin. It is a ply violin. It's not a solid carved violin as more expensive ones are, but it's a good quality range of timbres, and they do produce a very nice sound at this price. The second thing I want to talk to you about is the tailpiece. Now, this is the tailpiece here. This holds the strings in place. Now, on most of these other budget violins I'm talking about, the tailpiece is actually made of plastic. Now, this is terrible because a plastic tailpiece not only doesn't transmit any vibrations, it's not resonant, but it bends, it warps, it moves, and it's virtually impossible to keep your violin in tune with a plastic tailpiece. Our Prelude series violins have a carbon fibre tailpiece. Now, this is a high-tech material. It's very light, but it's very strong. And what it means is that you've got a tailpiece that stays perfectly in tune and keeps the strings at the exact right tension. It also means that the fine tuners, which are the small tuners here located in the tailpiece, keep their pitch very well. They hold tune very well. And overall, it's an excellent material for a good quality tailpiece. The second thing I wanted to mention is the pegs. Now, the pegs here are what basically tune the strings, and pegs are really just pushed into the scroll. They're not held in with anything. They don't have gears. They're just a timber peg pushed into a hole. What's important here is that the timber used for the pegs is ebony. Ebony is a strong, tough timber. It doesn't warp, it doesn't split, it doesn't move, it doesn't crack, and it means that the pegs on the Axiom series violin move really well. They hold tune really well, and they won't stick, they won't crack, they won't warp. The third thing I want to tell you about is the setup of the Axiom violin. Now, a violin needs to be set up properly. The bridge here needs to be shaped, the strings need to be tuned, the entire violin needs to be set up so that it's playable. Most of the budget violins you'll find in the Australian market come unset up. You just get them out of the box, you have to put the bridge on yourself, it's not shaped, it's not prepared, and it means that the violin's virtually unplayable out of the box. By comparison, I personally set up myself every violin that we sell. I shape the bridge, I tune the violin to pitch, I seat the pegs, and I actually test play every violin to make sure that it plays well. Now, this is really important because when you unpack your Axiom violin, you know that it's ready to play, it's in perfect playing condition, and there's nothing else to do. Now, you may need to tune it a little because it may have moved a bit during freight, but generally it's fully set up, all the strings are in place, and it's ready to go. So there's some of the differences between the Axiom Prelude violin and the other violins that you might find in the Australian market. As I say, we're very, very proud of the Prelude. We don't pretend that it's the same as a $5,000 violin. We don't pretend that it's a high quality Stradivarius. But what we do tell you is that it's a good basic violin. It has the features needed to learn to play, and it's set up ready for you to learn by someone who knows what they're doing. If you have any questions all about Axiom or Axiom musical instruments, please drop us a line, www.axiommusic.com.au. Thank you for watching.